Hi, everyone. I'd like to thank you all for exhibiting here at Pittcon 2021. Thank you for sticking with us through the year of virtual trade shows. I'm Rocco Pacella. I'm the Marketing and Communications Manager here at Pittcon. And I'd like to take this brief moment to just introduce you to our team here and explain really quickly that what many of you might not know about Pittcon is that we're a nonprofit organization. Our mission is simply to advance scientific endeavor through science outreach and education activities. Those are local, national, and international activities. And I just wanted to say thank you because your choice to exhibit directly funds this mission. You can learn more on our website at pitcon.org. With me today in driving traffic to and successfully working your Pittcon virtual booth is Stephanie Chrisman, who many of you know as our expo coordinator. Many of you have spoke with her and worked with her to get your booth set up. And of course, Miranda Flam, who many of you know is our marketing coordinator and is in control of our sponsorship program, which she'll be discussing very briefly today. Jefferson Davis from Competitive Edge will be hosting and giving this presentation today. And I'd like to just say that we've been working with Jefferson Davis for going on a decade now. Jefferson, I like to call him the Titan of trade shows because this man goes to more trade shows than I can, count on any number of hands here. He's a consultant, a trainer, a speaker. He's an author. He has those 30 plus years of exhibiting experience. He helps us out immensely. He helps, get the results that we'd like to see. This year alone, with our transition into the virtual world, he's helped us kind of navigate that a lot. And we feel that these webinars are enabling us to share Jefferson with you and enabling Jefferson to share his knowledge on exhibiting with you and his knowledge this year, especially about virtual exhibiting. So without further ado, Jefferson.
All right. Thank you, Rocco, Miranda, Stephanie, and really the entire management team at Pittcon, again, for caring enough about your exhibitors. I, like all of you in this webinar, have exhibited at a lot of trade shows over the years. And I honestly felt like the only time I heard from the show producer was when they wanted a check or they sent me that exhibit service kit with all that stuff I had to do. And so it is a really honor and super cool to be partnered with such a great organization that doesn't just rent you space, and that be digitally or live, and hope it works out for you, but provides ongoing education as part of your package to make sure you get the most. So a big round of applause to everybody for Pittcon, really for going the extra mile and not just dragging you into this new digital exhibiting arena and hoping that things worked out for you. So thanks so much, Rocco, the entire team. We all appreciate you guys for caring that much. What changed for me, I have always been, when it comes to exhibiting, I have over 30 years experience. And write this down, by the way, it's not in your workbook. Write this down, very important. People ask me, how do you know if your exhibit program is working? And my definition is that an exhibit program works when it visibly and directly supports your core business objectives. So it visibly directly supports core business objectives, and it delivers measurable financial value beyond cost. If your exhibit program is doing those two things, it's working. Unfortunately, for a lot of exhibitors, it's not. So what I've been working on really for these last 30 years is what are the critical success factors? I'm not a logistical operations guy. I'm not going to show you how to shave 3 hours off your setup time of your booth, in a live event. I live on the strategic side of the game where how do we generate results, right? And so what changed for me on March 13th, of last year, when the entire industry closed down, was I immediately dove into virtual. I saw where the puck was skating, the puck was going to, like the great Gretzky, and I said, I'm going to skate to where the puck is going, not where it is. I started analyzing the virtual platforms, and I wanted to understand what were the core attendee-facing components that exhibitors had available to them first, and then second, how do we optimize those? And how do we drive traffic? And how do we engage, right, attendees in the digital world? And finally, in December, it all came together in what I call the virtual exhibit marketing process. The strategic steps that an exhibitor needs to take to win the game. And regardless of what you're hearing out in the industry about digital events, you can win the game if you look at it through the right lens and you do the right things. And that's what we've been working on over these last 3 webinars. So thanks for being with me here today. If any of you need to have a one-to-one deeper dive, you want to connect with me, drop me an email. You see my phone number there. I'd be happy to talk with you in greater detail. So what have we done over our journey? On December 10th, we began this whole journey with kind of talking about virtual exhibiting and how it's different, some of the unique factors of it, and gave you some planning tips to get you started, right? And I'm thrilled that all of you with me today took that journey and came with us. And then in January, a month ago, we really took a deep dive into the Pittcon LabRoots platform, and we showed you the core attendee-facing functions, and we gave you the very best that we had learned over 9 months to help you optimize your virtual platform. So we kind of build it, right? We showed you this is how you build a digital virtual space that'll be worthy of the attendees' time. Today, we're going to put the final kind of bolts on to make sure that we're ready to fly. We're going to talk about driving traffic to it and successfully working it, okay, and how to interact with attendees in this new digital world. All of these webinars, along with a lot of other content as we move back to live, are free, and you have 24/7, 365 access, pittcon.org/exhibitor/ESRC. So let's get rolling here. Big insight. I really need you to hear this, because the #1 challenge that exhibitors have faced in 9 months of digital events now is engagement with visitors. Many exhibitors are not getting enough engagement. And here's the big idea, the critical insight, is that in the virtual world, the attendees are not walking up and down the virtual exhibit aisles like they would at Pittcon Live. They're not doing that in the digital world. And they're not just falling into booths at random. Okay? So if I stop now and said, I'm not going to tell you anything else but this, and you took this to heart and you said, okay, knowing that, what do I need to do differently? You would put yourself in the top 20% of virtual exhibitors by really locking this idea in. The biggest problem, again, people have had, they've set up their booth, they haven't done a whole lot to promote it, they've had their staff log on, they sit around during the open hours, are waiting and hoping that somebody enters their digital booth, they're hoping someone wants to have a Zoom meeting with them, and it's not happening, okay? So, success strategy. The Super Bowl just happened, so I'm gonna use a football analogy in the business world. Here's the best I can give you on how to win the digital virtual exhibiting game. Win the game before kickoff, right? Win the game before kickoff, meaning don't wait and hope, right, when the event goes live that everything's going to happen for you. What you got to do here is understand you don't need a lot of visitors. You don't need hundreds or thousands of visitors to win this game. For many of you, if you could get 25 to 50 of the right people that represent value for you, you'll win the game, okay? So take your focus off of, don't get caught up in, well, are there going to be 5,000 attendees or 25,000 or 30,000? Doesn't matter, right? What matters for you is getting in the mind, on the agenda of enough of the right attendees before the event opens, ideally. Now, the LabRoots platform, as we're going to show you, has some really cool functionality where you can engage But I'm telling you, if you want to win this game, you're setting right in the perfect space here. Today is the 9th. This event goes live on March 8th. 1 month from now, you're setting right in the perfect space to do what we're going to talk about today. Okay, so this would raise some questions for you. Who are the right people for you? You know, how much is enough, right? And what are you going to do between now and when this event goes live on March 8th? Ideally, you'll show up with your dance card filled up in terms of you could use calendaring and have preset appointments. You can get verbal commitments where people say, yes, I'm going to the Pittcon virtual event and I'm absolutely going to come and visit your virtual booth. You can do all that. And that's what I want you to do. Hey, in the live exhibiting world, only 20% of exhibitors do a well-designed pre-show marketing campaign. 80% of exhibitors in the live world do what I call exhibit by hope. They rent space, they show up, and they hope. Hope is not a strategy. You will not win the exhibiting game with hope. You will win the exhibiting game with the clearly defined outcomes, a well-designed virtual experience, good targeted pre and during event marketing, and a staff who knows how and is ready to engage with visitors. And that's what we're going to hit on today here. All right, now marketing your virtual booth. It's not a maybe. It's not a, oh, I wish I had some time or some money to do it. I'm telling you, if you're going to win the game, it's a must do. Now, let's talk about money for a minute here, okay? In a live trade show, like last year when we were at Pittcon in Chicago, right? The budgeting rule of thumb is floor space cost times 3 to 5. So if the cost of a single booth space was $4,000, then your total budget should have been in the $12,000 to $20,000 range. And that covers everything, by the way. There's 9 areas where the dollar goes. And by the way, we have content up on the Exhibitor Success and ROI Center, downloadable tools, articles around budgeting, cost control, and everything. So, but here's the thing, right? When you do a digital virtual event, you don't have all those additional costs, right? I mean, what cost do you really have, right? You know, you've got your cost to be a exhibitor, which was $1,995 up to $4,995. So $2,000 to $5,000. Write this down. I'm going to give you one of the best pieces of advice I can give you that you're going to hear out there. Whatever your investment in your digital exhibit was, $2,000, $5,000. Invest at least that much over the next 4 weeks to do what? Win the game before kickoff. Get in the mind, get on the agenda of the right people. Okay. Now, in that example, your total investment in Pittcon Virtual would be digital space cost times 2, right? Not times 3, not times 5, right? So, big tip there. Do the extra work. If you want a booth filled with the right people, you're going to have to roll up your sleeves. So let's get after it. Number 2. Again, you don't need a lot of people. You need the right people. So I want you to think about what business sectors, what types of companies, what job functions and titles, right? And create like a persona or a profile of who you define as your ideal visitor, your high value visitor. Okay, that is what you're going for there to get your profile created. Your goal then, once you understand who they are, right, then it's developing your value proposition. The number one reason, write this down, the number one reason people attend digital events is to learn. They come to learn. They come to network. They come to interact with, you know, vendors, other people. But in the digital world, the strongest pull is they come to learn. So here's a question for you. You are the subject matter expert in what your company markets or sells. You know it better than any customer could ever know it. So ask yourself this: what could we quickly teach someone by visiting our virtual exhibit that would add value to their job, their business, their career, their life? What can you teach them, right? Because if you use learning as the hook, they'll come running to your booth. If you go out there and try to sell in the digital world, you're going to struggle, right? Because it's different. But here's the key: learning, educating leads to customers. So some questions that I want you to think about, okay? Once again, once you have that profile, that persona, like I'm looking at my wall right now, and I literally have my exhibitor customer avatar. I have business type, job title, demographics, psychographics, behaviors, and where they're convening, right? I have it literally on my wall right here, okay? So I want you to do the same thing. Now I ask myself, what is the single biggest problem or challenge or goal or project that they're grappling with that you can help them solve, you can help them seize, you can help them achieve? And remember this, right? And this is an old marketing phrase, but it's very true. People don't buy 3/4 inch drill bits, right? What are they really buying? They're buying the hole. So you think you're selling a drill bit, but what you're really selling is a hole. So what I want you to figure out is, what is your hole, right? So that would be a good one. Second, I talked about this. Now that you understand the biggest problem or the challenge, what are the questions that are keeping them awake at night? If only I knew or could do this. Boy, if you can find your answer to that and make that your hook and part of your value proposition, they'll come running to your booth, your digital booth, to engage with your video, to chat with your staff, to set up Zoom meetings, to do all that. So what can you teach them that will help them solve their problems? Okay, and think in terms of, what will they gain? What will they save? What will they avoid? What can they achieve, right, by visiting? These 3 questions, I want you to gather, if you haven't already, I want you to gather your product managers, your marketing managers, and your sales management, and get together here over the next, today's what, Tuesday, by Friday, right? I want you to write down literally do this. Here's our target visitor in a broad brush stroke. Here's the problems they're having. Here's what we can teach them. Here's the gain, save, achieve, or avoid. And you will have incredible content that you can integrate through all your marketing channels. It'll cut through the noise, cut through the clutter, right? Grab the attention of the right people, right? Remember, people aren't necessarily buying your physical product. They're buying a result. They're buying an outcome. Get clear on that, okay? All right, let's keep rolling. Now, we're talking about do-it-yourself marketing. I'm trying to guide you through what can you do, because listen carefully here. Pittcon is going to spend every dollar and turn over every leaf to drive attendees to the virtual event. They'll get them there, but they can't really get them to your booth. That's on you, right? They're going to do their part, right? But you got to do your part. So I don't know how you go to market. Maybe you sell direct and you have salespeople in-house. Maybe you work through independent reps. Maybe you work through dealers or distributors, right? Whatever your sales team is, I want you to reach out to them, and I want you to get them working your warm circle, right? Encourage people you already know to register for Pittcon, to schedule meetings, to engage with you, right? So start with your customers, active and inactive. You should never enter a key event like Pittcon without reaching out and touching your customers, whether you think they're coming or not. And don't go to the place of, Well, I don't want to invite them there because my competitors are there. Well, I tell you what, this is the time your competition will be knocking on your customer's door harder than ever. What you want to do is circle the wagons around your existing customers, right? You know, and you got to know today that customers are using trade events. Write this phrase down, very important, to revalidate existing buying relationships, especially now with all the chaos from the pandemic and all the changes and all the revenue losses. And everybody's looking at their current vendors and going, are you still the best overall source of quality, price, service, value, right? So circle the wagons around your customers. Let them know you're going to be here. Invite them. Try to get confirmed meetings with them. Maybe hold special VIP events where you're going to have your CEO and you're going to have a Zoom event only for your VIP customers. Do some cool stuff for your customers, right? The next group, this is the low-hanging fruit. Here's where the fast return on investment is hiding. It's for prospects who are already in your sales pipeline. So you're going to ask your sales team, who are prospects that you're currently engaged with? Where are you in the sales cycle? How can we use the energy, the excitement, the digital assets, the interactivity that Pittcon is giving us to move them one step closer, right? Then recent inquiries. Anybody who has reached out to your company over the last 3, 6, 9 months, a year, right? They visited your website. They've downloaded documents. Maybe you're using white papers or lead magnets. They visited, they were at your booth last year at Pittcon Live. Your social media connections, right? Groups. If you're on LinkedIn and you're part of groups, work all those, right? But get your sales team kind of building and working warm circle lists. And if you really want to kick this off, get a contest in play. The sales rep or dealer distributor that gets the highest number of pre-registered meetings during the Pittcon Live virtual wins something, right? So work your warm circle. Get your sales team, your dealer distributors involved. Get them to register. Get them to engage with your digital content and your events, and get them to schedule meetings with you. In fact, that's a really good goal to set a goal. Before Pittcon goes live, we will have at least 30 pre-scheduled meetings. Hey, if you had 10 customer meetings, 10 prospect meetings, and 10 new opportunity meetings, if you had those pre-scheduled before Pittcon virtual goes live, you've won the game before kickoff. All of a sudden, life doesn't look so complicated, does it? Right? Next, as you build your approach and your marketing content, you have to segment these lists, right? So the way you approach your customers will be different than the way you approach your prospects, and it'll be different than the way you approach your potential new opportunities. So you're really going to have those 3 baskets: customers, prospects, potential new opportunities, and you're going to design your messaging and your content so it is appropriate for each type. So you'll really be running like 3 types of campaigns here, okay? When do you start your marketing? Listen carefully to this. This is surprising and yet maybe not. The average attendee, not exhibitor, attendee, registers for a digital event approximately 3 to 4 weeks before the event, which is now, right? Over the next week. Listen to this next one. Write this down. It's not in your workbook. Write it down. So they're registering 3 to 4 weeks before the event. They are planning their agenda, what they're going to do during the live event, 5 to 7 days before the event. That's really important, good stuff to know. So you're right in the sweet spot right now if you'll follow these action steps I'm giving you, right? To define that audience, to build those lists, to engage your sales team, to develop your value proposition, and to reach out to these different segments with an appropriate reason why they should schedule an appointment, why they should register, why they should come visit you, okay? As far as your media, Today, you're going to want to lean toward digital media since we're in the digital age, right? Email, if you have email addresses, work email. If you are connected on social media, if you have a LinkedIn company page, if you have a LinkedIn group, if you're on Facebook, right? Whatever, Instagram, Pinterest, I don't know where you are. Landing pages, rather than drive them to your company page, you would want to be setting up dedicated landing pages. In fact, I'm going to show you in a moment a landing page built for a digital event. Web pages, like websites are pretty. Landing pages are profitable. Single page, single offer, single reason. Hey, and if you got phone numbers, pick up the phone and dial for dollars. Call people. Hey, I'm amazed at how many more people are answering. People, right? A lot of people are like Zoom fatigue. You pick up, call them on the phone, boy, they're like, good, I get to get off video for a minute. I get to actually engage with a person ear to ear over the phone, right? So you're going to want to lean toward that type of media primarily in your campaign. Now, ideally, you're going to want to, each one of your high value visitor targets, you're going to want to land 3 direct touches between now and event time, at least 3. It seems to work best when you use multiple media. So you don't just email, right? Or call, but maybe it is social media connection, email, call, right? Different channels, right? And again, I'm going to come back to, you've got to give them a clear and compelling reason to attend the virtual event and to visit your booth and interact with your content and your staff. What are you going to see? What are you going to learn? What are you going to do? And what are you going to get, right? That's the content. Those are the questions that are in their mind. Why should I, out of 150, 200, however many digital booths are going to be, why should I make time to visit yours and engage with your content and your staff? The onus is on you. You've got to deliver the value proposition. Here's a great analogy to bring all this home. Every human being you meet has a radio station in their brain, and that radio station is called WIIFM. It's 95.6 on the dial. What's in it for me? So before you send anything out, stop and look, put yourself in the eye of attendee and ask yourself, would this message make me want to register, make me committed to visit my booth, make me schedule a meeting? If not, keep writing. Get it right. You know, tell me why. Answer. Give me a big why, and I will show up at your booth. Right? And don't be vague and don't beat around the bush. Okay. So let me show you some examples here. Let's kind of take all that concept, if you will, that strategy, and let's maybe show you some. Do this, don't do that. So here's an example of a company using LinkedIn to promote their digital booth at a show called HR Tech. Okay, notice all it says is, hey, hi Joe, on these dates, we'll be offering, the event will be offering an exciting new, and we're going to be part of it, right? That's more about the event and less about the reason why. Hey, let's connect and understand how we could collaborate. That's a really vague message. I don't know what that means. I don't know who this person is. There's no clear benefit for me. I don't have any idea. There's not even a company name. I blacked some of this out. There's no company name. There's actually a typo if you look close. And this message is more about them than it is about me, right? People don't really care that much about us. They care about themselves, their problems, their projects, their pain points, right? So this would be kind of an example of what not to do. Okay. Now, let me show you an email here. An example of what to do. Same show, different exhibitor. Okay. So it's a graphic type-based email. It's got great branding on it. It's actually got an image, a preview of the digital booth, kind of future pacing on the experience. It's got people in it. And at least there's a benefit, right? Offer a great employee experience. And there's a crystal clear call to action. Write that down too. Make sure every one of your touches has a clear CTA, a call to action. Meet with us. Look at the call to action. Okay. Now, here's email number 2. They followed up, right? Look at the headline at the very top. Empower your HR success. It's a little better, a little vague, right? I mean, empower, that's probably could be sharper, but at least it's kind of suggesting, hey, you're going to learn something here. There's something valuable. The branding is consistent, and the copy is somewhat assumptive. See you at, right? Where? The comfort of your home, right? Now, when you scroll down on that, right, what you saw here was come join us, right? And they did a nice job here of kind of telling you for valuable insights, right, that support your organization's needs, one-to-one chats, interactive demos, theater presentations, a resource center, right? And they did a good job here of daily live demos, and they spotlighted their theater sessions they were going to be doing. Now, what I would have done to make this a little better is it's a lot of copy, so I would have bold-faced dates, times, and call to actions. And because I'm asking for specific times like theater sessions and daily live demos, I would have put some form of a calendaring link in there, the ability to schedule that meeting, maybe using a tool like Calendly or any tool like that, that you have the ability to click here to register for our theater session. But overall, this is good, right? I mean, they're doing a nice job of telling you, hey, we've got a wide range of experiences here for you, okay? Then, once you click that Meet with Us button, this was cool here. Look what happened, right? It kind of had the preview of the booth, right? That's what their digital booth is going to look like. Had a countdown timer. The event starts in 1 day, 3 hours. You had the ability in this little tab on the upper left to pre-schedule meetings. Click that schedule. Meet our staff, our experts, right? Contact us, right? So it's a good example here, right, of how they really built their email campaign so you could visualize the experience, right? People got a sense of where they were going to go. And then they moved to social media after that. So they used email, 2-part email campaign. Then they went to social media. And they had a huge LinkedIn connections, 336,000 connections, 30,000 followers on Twitter. So notice on the left, right, they communicated the problem. Remember I said, unsafe working conditions affect workers' health and productivity. In the middle one, they were doing brand positioning. ServiceNow has effectively pivoted, right? So they talked about their brand and showed you their headquarters, which also adds credibility. And then over here on the right, they're sharing research, right? Look at this, 5 years of key HR trends, right? So they're sharing research. So they use this through social media, okay? Then, now this was a different example. This company didn't create a landing page per se. So here's another exhibitor in that show called Workday, who created a event. Remember, websites are pretty, landing pages are profitable. I just heard that a few weeks ago. I love that. And I'm using a lot more landing pages than websites today. Clean design, look, connect with us. Clear brand identity. There's a call to action there. Look, learn more, tag at the top and bottom. When you click, it takes you to a landing page, right? It gives you more detail, right? So that was, then you had these multiple ways to engage. See Workday in action, pre-schedule a demo. Get inspired, we're doing this session, add it to your calendar. We're doing another demo, add it. And they had a chat bot, okay? So these landing pages, you can whip these things together now for fast. There are so many companies. Lead Pages, LEADPAGES, it is an incredible system. You can do everything through there. You can build a landing page in about a half an hour on Lead Pages, okay? So a landing page, a lot of marketing going on here, right? Let me share another idea on the DIY. Now, you maybe are presenting sessions. You definitely should have educational content on video and documents in your booth. But here's a really cool strategy. I want you to go through Pittcon's educational session roster. I want you to look at the entire schedule. I want you to look for sessions that relate that the topic of the session relates to what you do. Promote those sessions. Say, hey, John, you know what? If you're struggling with this or that, there's a super cool session at Pittcon about this. Go check it out. And oh, by the way, right after the session, come by and interact with us or schedule a meeting with us or do whatever. Remember, the number one reason they're coming to learn. So, and you may or may not have a super learning-based experience. So now you can kind of tag off of, if you will, others' educational sessions, right? Promote those sessions and suggest they visit and make it. That's where calendaring can come in. Schedule 10 minutes to chat with our technical experts. Continue the learning after the session in our digital space. You might even want to put a contest in play, right? Or some form of a reward for attending the session and visiting your booth, chatting with your staff, scheduling a Zoom meeting, whatever. And for higher up, for your top 10, what I like to do is have at least 50 must-see visitors, and I'll have 10 of those that I'll define as my top 10, and I'll offer a higher level reward for them for scheduling and completing a meeting. Hey, give us 10 minutes at, oh, by the way, as our way of saying thanks, we'll give you this or that, but I'll ratchet up the reward, something really unique, something cool, something useful for them individually, okay? All right, so that's DIY marketing. You've got a month here. Don't let a lot of time pass, right? Today's Tuesday. Get that assignment that I gave you. Profile, value proposition. Get your lists going. Thumbnail out your plan by Friday of this week, and then spend the next 2 weeks building out all the content, and then get ready to deploy in that 10 to 15 day before the event window. Now, Pittcon gives you a lot of cool stuff for free too, right? These are exhibitor marketing opportunities. Some are free, some are for purchase, right? You can learn more about these if you haven't looked at them already on pittcon.org exhibitor/marketing-tools. And also Miranda, she's on the webinar with us. I'm going to have her on in just one moment. Reach out to Miranda. Tell her, say, hey, Miranda, here's my goals. Here's my target audience. Here's my budget. How can you help me get in front of and get engagement with the right people? So speaking of that, I'm going to bring Miranda on just for a moment. There's some sponsorship things. We're not here to sell you anything today. We just want you to be aware some stuff's available. Miranda, what do you think would be good for our participating exhibitors to know either about a digital or a platform marketing op?
Yeah, so for sponsorships, they are selling fast, but there are a lot of good opportunities left. And under the digital sponsorships, I just wanted to take a moment to point out the digital final program advertisements. On site, we usually print out a final program and we sell final program advertisements in there, but we are going to just do that digitally this year. And they will be placed directly into the attendees' briefcase, which is their notification center. And the advertisements are just a great way to increase brand awareness, or if you're implementing a new product at Pittcon, it's a really good way to market that. And then under the platform sponsorships, I just wanted to point out the pop-up announcements, which is a really other good sponsorship that a message will appear on the attendee screens that are in the platform when they're using it. It's just a great way to tell attendees to visit your booth if you're hosting an event, or if you're doing a giveaway, or if you are, promoting a new product. So those are on the website, and there are a good lot of opportunities left.
Thanks, Miranda. Here's the best advice I could give everybody. Think about your goals. Think about your target visitor, right? Take a look at your budget. Again, I ideally a minimum of double what your core space cost was, and send Miranda an email, set up a call with her, pick up the phone. She doesn't bite. She's super helpful. She's super nice, right? Her goal is to help you get to where you want to go. So don't be shy about reaching out to her. Okay, I've covered a lot there, and I imagine some questions are bubbling up. I'm running a little behind the 8 ball on time, so what I would like you to do right now is pause for a moment and ask yourself, if I had one marketing related question about digital events, what would that be? go to your question tab right now, type that question in, and then I'm going to come back on the end and look in the question queue and answer as many questions as I can live. Again, as we promised, if we can't get to the question live, we're going to follow up one-to-one individually with each person that asks the question. So fire away with your questions. Okay, let's keep rolling because we got about 17 minutes to go here. Now we're going to get into the engagement side, right? So what have you done already? You've built a really good digital platform. You're in process on developing a DIY marketing plan. You're going to integrate some Pittcon opportunities that make sense. Man, you're 2/3 of the way home. Now we got to get your staff to engage, capture leads. Okay, so we're going to walk you through this 7-step roadmap about putting your best people online, attracting your right visitors, which is what we talked about both before and during the event. You got to make sure your staff is ready to interact in this online space. It's different than when someone walks into your booth live at a show. During that engagement, you're looking for a problem to solve or a need to fill or an opportunity to help them seize. Your goal in the digital space is not to get too long and deep. You want to just kind of briefly present, I understand your problem, give them a high-level look, here's how I think we can help. Then get that visitor to agree to a clear next action, capture their data in the digital space, and then follow up after the event. That's what you're going for. So staffing. Your booth staff has to be registered. So you got to make sure that they're registered through LabRoots. Depending upon what tier, you can have anywhere from 2 to 12 reps registered. My best advice on staffing is put your product managers, your technical experts front and center and promote, right? That they're going to be available. Bring your toughest technical questions and get answers from our experts, right? You're going to want to make sure that your staff are scheduled during the event hours. On March 8th, 9th, and 10th, the event is open live from 9 to 6. That's a long day, right? You're not going to want to have any one person sitting at their computer for 9 hours. I'm going to recommend that you use a split shift scheduling approach, 3-hour increments. The A team goes from 9 to 12, the B team goes from 12 to 3, and the C team goes from 3 to 6, and then rotate those hours around over the course of the event. So, don't ask anybody to sit on their computer waiting because that's a long time. It's a very long day, okay? Pro tip, I mentioned this earlier, but I'm going to circle back on this. It's a really smart idea to have maybe a couple hour windows over those 3 days, maybe 1 or 2 days, 1 hour, 45 minutes. Put your senior level executives and make them visible and available to your audience and promote that they're going to be online and available. You're going to get access to our president, our CEO, the genius that created our solution, right? And make that exclusive, right? And promote it to your audience. Getting your staff ready. Let's talk about that. You got to make sure everybody who's going to be on that event logs into the platform. They become familiarized and trained on how to use the virtual booth functions. When you are featuring multiple solutions in your staff directory, you want to have a go-to person. Here's who to talk to about solution A, solution B, solution C. Okay. You're also going to want to think through, how do we handle the various types of visitors that might show up at our booth? If we get students, if we get competitors, if we get dealers, distributors, if we get international visitors, if we get the press, the media, you want to figure out who's the point person, how are we going to interact and handle them if they show up in our digital booth. And 2 things that I want you to do, write these down. There is a great video on using the LabRoots rep dashboard. The link is here. It's in your workbook also. And on Thursday, January 18th, Pittcon is going to hold a booth rep training webinar with LabRoots at 2 p.m. Make that mandatory for everybody who's going to work your booth. So jot those down because that's going to take you inside the platform, get them familiar with the functionality. The rep dashboard is going to teach them a lot. make sure that they watch that dashboard video and that they attend that rep training on Thursday, January 18th, and you'll be receiving email invitations to that event from Pittcon very soon. Okay, so let's keep rolling. Getting your staff ready to interact. Okay, I really think it's a good idea to have a virtual booth host and feature them at the top of your staff directory. When someone comes to your booth and your chat and everything that's going on, this person is watching that. They're engaging people. They're directing people to the right person, right? But a virtual, just like if you were a medium or a large booth at a show, you had a welcome desk, same idea, right? You can see here where it has, this is a kind of image of what the rep panel looks like on the right. So you would want to have your virtual host, you're right at the top, right? And feature them. And you could say, rather than call them title, you could say, you know, your host, you know, virtual booth host, whatever you want to call them, right? Give your staff a pre-written list of seek to understand questions for chats and meetings. Before they start sharing possibly sensitive content, they should know who they're talking with, what their relationship with your company is, why they're visiting your booth, and what they want to accomplish while they're in there. So these are for one-to-one chat, group chat, Zoom type meetings, right? 3 options for you to initiate and engage attendees. Number 1, you have text chat, which you can one-to-one with attendees, and you have the ability to add other people to the chat. Then you have one-to-one video, right? And then you've got the ability to host a meeting, okay? So you can see the attendee when they visit your booth on the right of the screen here, you'll see this booth wrap chat. So the attendee can click that, and the attendee can initiate chat with your staff too. When you're doing video chats or meetings, don't expect a lot of video chat meetings with brand new contacts, right? Because people who maybe haven't had any engagement with you yet they're not super comfortable going on video with someone they don't have. Now, it doesn't mean you can't get them, but what I'm telling you is don't expect to get hundreds of video face-to-faces with people that you don't already have some form of engagement with. You may get some, but just don't expect a lot. A lot of people, you know, you're dealing with a scientific community, you know, not necessarily the most gregarious, life of the party, extroverted, maybe a little more introverted, right? A little more reluctant to just get on a video chat with just anybody, right? Keep that in mind. When you do your video chats, make sure your staff looks and dresses the part. If you typically had your staff wear branded apparel at the live event, I would have them in branded apparel in the digital event. If you're using Zoom, you have the ability to, your backgrounds, you have the ability to use digital backgrounds that could have your company logo and your value prop. Those digital backgrounds will control a lot of the lighting, but make sure you have good lighting. Make sure, test your audio before you go live, and make sure you have a wired internet connection versus wireless, right? You know how wireless, you can drop connection, and you don't want to drop a Zoom meeting or a call right in the middle of an important conversation. One of my favorite things to do in the digital world is when I'm chatting or meeting with someone, if I don't already have their cell phone number, I'll say, hey, Rocco, just in case something happens with our internet here, you know how the internet is, right? Would it be all right? Could you give me your phone number so if if this drops, I can pick it up and call you, okay? You have the ability to schedule meetings through your platform. There is a form on the left here you'll see that you would need to submit. You can use Zoom, GoToMeetings, Microsoft Teams, or WebEx, and you'll be able to integrate that with your platform. Best advice I can give you on pre-scheduled meetings is prepare an agenda. What are you going to do in this meeting? How long is it going to be? And share that agenda with your participants in advance. That way, when people know what the meeting is, what the objective of the meeting is, what the outcome is, and what the flow of the meeting is going to be, they're more comfortable. So when you're using scheduled meetings, work from an agenda, share it with the participants in advance, if at all possible. Okay, there is a really nice video on YouTube put together here on how to use the chat feature. Again, today's not technical training. I'm not going the inner working. That's what these videos and the rep training is going to be about. But I would copy this link and have your entire team take a look at this chat video. It'll show you exactly how the chat works and how to use it. Okay, knowledge prep. Okay, now we talked about interaction prep, staff platform prep. Now we're talking about knowledge prep. What products or services are you going to feature? If you were with me on the first webinar, I told you don't bring everything. Lead with new, augment with hot topical trending, fill out with your pillar bread and butter, leave everything else at home. Less is more. For each solution you're going to feature, in writing, identify the top 3 features and the benefits, right? That's going to give you your talking points for your conversations, your demos, your presentations. Hopefully, one of those features and benefits will be differentiated, something that makes you unique, different, better, right? Then, for each of these 3 feature and benefits, I want you to backtrack it and go, what customer need does that feature and benefit address? What need? And then I want you to develop open-ended need-based questions to get the visitor talking about the need, the problem, the project, before you start showing, telling, presenting feature benefits, solutions. This is one of the most powerful skills. You say, how are you handling this? What sort of frustrations are you having with this? Have you ever dealt with this? Right? Now you'll open their mind better instead of just coming in and trying to dump 3 product messages on somebody. Make sure that your virtual booth staff have this content at their fingertips. It's a beautiful thing about being on your computer. You can have all this right at your fingertips, right? Make sure they're trained to ask need-based questions. Make sure they can quickly and effectively present your messaging consistently, concisely, and persuasively. That's what you're going for, right? And another pro tip I'll give you, ask your marketing, ask your sales, ask your product managers, what are the questions that we get hit with over and over and over again? Script your answers and give your FAQ list to everybody who's going to staff your virtual event. That way, everybody is singing from the same hymnal, so to speak, right? Your message will be consistent, it'll be accurate, and if you design it, it'll be the best messaging you can deliver, okay? Next, I know I'm throwing a lot at you here. We are recording this. You're going to be able to access this webinar all the way up to and through the event. So I'm talking a little bit here about virtual attendee engagement now. Have your reps check their dashboard frequently. And again, they're going to, that video on the dashboard, you got to watch that, right? Because they're going to be able to see rep chat, watch list, chat history, chat queue, and a rep checklist. All of this will be available to you on the dashboard. Make sure that your reps check it frequently at the beginning of the day, at the end of the day, and maybe even multiple times during the day. When you get into the platform and you want to start doing outreach to attendees, know who you're approaching, right? Don't just start clicking at random and sending spam type messages to unknown attendees. It's not going to work. They're not going to respond to it. Take a look at where the educational sessions are being held and try to avoid interrupting attendees while they're in educational sessions. So if there's a track of sessions going on, you don't want to be like all of a sudden doing a lot of attendee outreach while they're in sessions. That would be like them calling you at home at dinner time, right? Click on the now attending button. Okay, check this out. It's toward the bottom on the left here. Okay, so you have the ability now attending to click that and see who is there, right? So you can reach out to those attendees. That means they're logged on and they're present. Make sure your virtual booth is staffed by somebody during every open hour. If you decide to, we're not going to have any staff for this hour or that hour, you might miss the most important visitor of the entire event, okay? When an attendee enters your booth, you will hear a doorbell ring, and it's very noticeable. So you can multitask during the event, right? If you're not doing outreach and you're not chatting or you're not having Zoom meetings, your staff could be maybe working on something else, but keep that audio on and listen for that doorbell ring. Somebody's entered your space. Respond quickly. Hi, thanks for stopping. What can I help you with? How can I help you? What questions can I answer? Monitor your chat. Respond quickly to your chat, right? Any form of meeting requests, respond quickly. Speed wins. When you're engaging, respect time. Be brief, be interesting, and be gone, right? And respect their knowledge. Ask them, how are you familiar with our company? What do you know about this product or service? That way you'll know what you don't have to talk about. You'll also know what you do have to talk about. Quickly, the job should be of your staff is to quickly identify and meet the visitor's information needs. So you know who the visitor is, why they're visiting, what they're hoping to see, do, or learn. You quickly meet their needs and then collaborate on what happens next. Get the visitor to agree with that and follow up quickly, right? Whatever that next step is. If they want this document, point them where to get it in your digital, send it, export into your CRM, and then do your follow-up out in your CRM. Now, capturing leads. Okay, here's the ways. When they visit your booth, the information is automatically captured. When they chat with you, it's automatically captured. When you're having those meetings through your own meeting platform, Zoom, GoToMeeting, whatever, make sure you're capturing. You're going to have some data, but make sure you're capturing what you need. The auto information has name, title, degree, company, email, mailing address, country, and phone number. But you are probably going to need more information than that. So I want you to think about what else do you need to capture and how are you going to capture that? Maybe you have some form of a paper-based form that your reps are going to use during their interactions to fill in the blanks. Maybe you're going to set up landing pages with qualifying questions. Maybe you're going to have a contest or something, but don't just accept what's in the auto capture. Try to get more information from the visitor, okay? Following up with leads, pretty straightforward. Get them into your CRM. Ask people, what do you think we should do next? How can we help you learn more? And deliver value, right? And finally, don't stop short. The biggest mistake exhibitors make in lead follow-up, they email information, they send 1 or 2 emails, maybe they make a phone call, leave a voice message, and they stop. Today, it takes an average of 12 touches to move somebody from point of contact to high engagement. Don't stop short. All right, last slide, and we'll open this up for questions. Your report, your analytic report that's going to come will have information, booth visitors, people that were your information kiosk, people that clicked on your uploads, people that viewed your large screen, and people that viewed your screen 1 and screen 2. So it'll capture that basic information I showed you: name, title, email, company, mailing address, country. All that'll be automatically captured. So here are some of the metrics that you'll want to run to figure out, how well did you do, okay? So how many people visited your booth, right? How many people did you chat with? Who did you chat with? What did you discuss? What were the outcome? How many video meetings did you have? Who, what was the outcome? Also the number, of course, how many people, what information did they download, right? To get to your value, you're going to want to take your total investment and divide it by the number of unique visitors. So for example, if you invested $1,995 and that was it, and you captured 50, you had 50 visitors, then your cost per visitor was about $40, 40. That's pretty low, right? The cost of a field sales call was over $1,000. So you're going to look at that. Then you're going to drill down to your leads. How many of these visitors could we call opportunities or leads? Then you'll want to calculate a cost per lead. You'll also want to calculate the potential revenue value of your leads. So if you captured 10 leads and you looked at each one of those leads and determined they were worth potentially $10,000 each, you got $100,000 of potential revenue from the event. Over time, if you're going to close the loop financially, you're going to want to track what became of those leads. Woo! I threw a lot at you here, and yet I feel like there is so much more that we could talk about here. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to take a look at the question queue. And while I do, I'm going to bring Rocco and/or Stephanie Miranda back on for any additional thoughts or comments from Pittcon while I'm looking at the question queue.
No, I think you covered a lot. You covered everything. Even I learned some stuff, Jefferson. Thank you very much.
It was a lot, man. I knew we had a lot crammed in this one. Otherwise, we would have had to do a whole nother webinar. And this is our third one. So I'm sure you guys are probably like, give me what I need so I can go. Let me take a look. Miranda, from the marketing standpoint, before I get in questions, anything you wanted to share?
No, I think you covered it all. Just, you know, we're here to help, and it's all listed under our website under marketing opportunities. So that's all.
Okay.
Yeah, Jefferson, another thing I'd like to mention is on the exhibitor page of our website, if you are hosting some sort of activity in your booth, whether it be a product or service demonstration, learning lab, maintenance lab, or social engagement, if you're already hosting that within your booth, you can tell us what it is. There's a form for you to fill out on our website. And if you submit that, we'll look over it, and if we approve it, we'll put it on our public schedule as well. So if this is something you want all attendees to come to, we'll promote it on our schedule on the website as well as in the virtual platform. So if you're interested, please check that out.
Yeah, thanks, Stephanie. That was a very important addition. So a learning lab, a maintenance lab. What was the other opportunity?
Maintenance lab, learning lab, product or service demo, and then any other social engagement you might be having, a happy hour, some sort of activity, fun engagement within your booth.
And those are specifically time and date specific events. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, and even if they're reoccurring, you know, if you're having them Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, we can specify that in our schedule just to promote it and help you get that traffic to your booth.
Excellent. Thank you. Very important addition. So learning lab, maintenance lab, product service demos you're doing, social engagement that are date time specific. Be sure to share those because you'll get free promotion for that. Let me dive into the questions. We got quite several questions here. Stephanie, I think this question might be in your wheelhouse. It says, I know we only have a max of 2 reps, but is it possible to have more than that if they use the same login as the original? In other words, is it possible to have those booth reps switch on and off throughout the expo?
So your booth reps are recognized by email, and their names are also listed within your booth. So you'll want to keep, you know, the same rep. But we are offering additional reps if you need them. You can shoot me an email and I'll help you get that settled. But yes, it's really, you know, the rep's name is listed, their email is there, and they're recognized by that email. So you'll want to keep the same person.
Okay, thank you. Miranda, where can someone find and purchase email lists for Pittcon? Are email lists available?
Yeah, email lists are available. It is on our website under Expo, and it will say attendee purchase list or purchase attendee lists.
Okay, thank you. A couple people asked, will we receive a copy of this presentation? It is recorded. You have the workbook. We will be uploading the recording within the next 24 hours. It'll be accessible on the Pittcon website. So you'll be able to access the event on the Pittcon website.
Yeah, that link real quick, everyone, is pittcon.org/exhibitor. It's kind of it is our exhibitor main page. And if you just scroll down, these eventually show up along with all these videos that I believe show you, I haven't seen them in a while, but they show you how to, you know, the LabRoots platform and maybe the back end of that, and a lot of other information. That also links to various things like the sponsorships, like Miranda said, press conferences, the attendee list. That's all pittcon.org/exhibitor.
Okay, thanks, Rocco. I'm not sure if this is a Stephanie or a Miranda question, but are exhibitors allowed to use a screenshot of their virtual booth in their email promotions?
Yeah, I don't see why that would be a problem. Rocco, Miranda, I don't know if you have any other thoughts on that, but I think that would be fine.
We've put some stuff out with, screenshots of the main lobby, so I don't see why that would be a problem on our end. I think
Yeah.
it's actually good promotion.
Yeah, I
Yeah, and
agree.
another thing you can use in your promotions is your hall. So you're assigned to a hall within the expo floor. So you could say, "Hey, come visit us in Hall 6," and that'll help get them directly to you as well.
Okay, thank you. So Stephanie, I think this might be in your wheelhouse. Gary's asking, in our pre-marketing, how do we tell people how to find our booth? Is it a number? Is it alphabetical? How do we as an exhibitor in our promotions, here's how to find our booth?
Yeah, there's a couple different things you can do. So one of them is you can actually take the link of your booth within the platform and you can share that. And if they're already signed in and they're registered for the event, it'll take them right to your booth. However, if they are not, it'll take them directly to register. So just keep that in mind for people who haven't registered yet. They'll be prompted to register before going into your booth. Another thing, like I just said, you can use your sub hall, your expo sub hall number to direct people. There's also a search engine that follows the entire platform. They can search by company name, product category. So there's a couple different options you can use just to help direct traffic towards you.
Okay, thank you. Let's see, a specific assignment, booth number, hall number, booth number. It's a similar question. It's kind of asking the question of, do we have a specific, you know how they would have a booth number at Pittcon Live? Is there a hall number, or is there, how do they specifically say that in their marketing?
Right, there's no booth number anymore like you would have during an in-person show. Instead, you'll want to use that hall number. So there's probably going to be between 15 and 20 halls with 11 booths in each hall. So you'll be, and I do have those placements if you're unsure of yours, but if you're already working and looking at your review periods for your booth in Asana, you'll see your booth, you'll see your location and your hall, and that'll give you a good image of where you're at within the platform.
Okay, thank you. Next question maybe is in my wheelhouse. Would you recommend the sales teams to be live on the Pittcon booth at all times? That's going to be a function of how many staff, you know, the tier of booth and how many staff you can have available. And so that's going to drive everything there. If you only have two, right, then you're split shifting. You're probably going to want to have both on for most of the time, and maybe just or alternate 3 hours one, 3 hours two. But the challenge that you'll have if you only have two is that what happens, right? If you only have one person on and they're tied up in a chat or a meeting, what happens to the other? So you're going to want to have whatever that minimum number is in the smallest booth. If it's two, you're going to want to have two on wire to wire, but let them know they can multitask, because it's not like there's going to be hundreds or thousands of people in your booth. Let me see if next question coming down to staff too. If the staff are listed in the booth grid assignments, do we still have to fill out a physical registration for our staff?
Yes, that is correct. So your booth reps are included in the price of your booth tier, and then you do indicate them in your booth grid as well. After you've done that, you will want to register them through LabRoots. That link is in Asana. It's also going to be kind of explained in that booth rep training we're going to have. So if you've missed it, it'll be in that, and Tracy will go into a little more detail about it. But you can also email me and I can send you the link as well.
Okay, and this sounds like it was a verbal hiccup on my part. The rep training is February 18th, not January 18th. I have several questions on that. I think I just misspoke on that, but yes, the booth rep training is February 18th. And thank you everyone for pointing that out. Let's see, what else do we have? Here's an email question. We receive a large number of lists for purchase via email. The first thing that I will warn you about, be careful about those lists, when you get emails from others saying that they have the Pittcon pre-registered list, they don't. And the trigger, because I get a ton of those, and every time they send one, for some reason, it has a red receipt on it. And that for me is an absolute trigger. So if you're getting third-party people trying to rent you Pittcon pre-registered attendee lists, they're probably bogus. And I would recommend that you forward that email to Pittcon. Rocco, would you add to that on those?
Yeah, we've been, I kind of get a kick out of these because we actually get them too. And I enjoy, basically they're fake. I mean, if you look up the website to what their domain is there on the email, it's all fake. It's none of it's real. And we've had this problem, as many shows have this problem. We don't offer pre-registration lists. We offer the lists that you can get those when Pittcon's going on. You can currently purchase the lists from Pittcon 2020, which is a lot of the people will continuously go to Pittcons again and again. We don't go through a vendor outside of our registration vendor to sell these lists, period. And we're pretty good at catching these people. We've become pretty adept at that. And unless it's coming from a Pittcon address, it's not real. If it's coming from someone else, we found these places to exist all over the world. We just caught one in Las Vegas that was still trying to sell housing for Pittcon 2021, which is virtual. So they're all fake. If you have any questions, you can reach us. If you can't remember my email address, which Jefferson will give you here, just contact marketing@pittcon.org. Let us know. We're trying to be like hawks with this stuff. We're trying to catch them all, but it's a long process.
Yeah, that's a good point, Rocco. There's a lot of, we call them list pirates, and one of two things would happen. Once again, the trigger, I get those. I get 3 or 4 of those a day, literally, because I work with a lot of shows. And every single one of them I get has a red receipt, which kind of triggers me. If you were to end up buying that, one of two things will happen. You'll either get a bogus list or you won't get any list at all, and your money will be gone. So don't buy through third party, because they do not have. Forward those to marketing@Pittcon or Pacella, Pacella at pittcon.org. I want to come back to the staffing thing. We're getting more questions around that. So someone's asking, okay, we're a tier 1 booth. We only have 2 staffers. So if we need to split shift because of the long hours, can a different person log in with the other person's credentials? Stephanie, thoughts on that?
Yeah, you could, like I said, it's recognized by name and email. If you needed to do that, you could, but they'll click on the name in the upper right corner and it won't be you, so you'd have to reintroduce yourself. You could do that. Another thing to keep in mind is when you have your reps and somebody's away, it'll show a colored circle showing if they're online or offline. And you can designate one of your booth reps that if you're both offline for some reason, taking a break, going on lunch, they can send an email directly to you if they're trying to get in contact with someone. So just keep those different options in mind when you're scheduling.
Okay, thank you. Another question, the live event hours, 9 to 6, those are Eastern, right?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Let's see. Someone's asking, what have you found to be the most effective way to interact live with attendees virtual? Invite them to a stream talk in 30 minutes, text, Twitter, email. Different people have different preferences. You'll want to start by your pre-marketing and trying to get as many people confirmed before the event opens as possible. Ideally, you'll get it calendared using Calendly, Google Calendar, Outlook, whatever you use. To me, it's only an appointment when it's on their calendar and my calendar. So it's on both calendars. Now, that being said, when you're interacting during the event, chat is the least threatening way to open a dialogue. Again, if the person doesn't know you and you come rushing in and want to do a video chat right away, they might be a little reluctant. So what I would try to do is lean more toward your chat to kind of try to get connection and dialogue. And once the conversation went to another level, then I would say, hey, can we move this to a video? Can we move this to a meeting? Whatever, right? That way. Let me see. A question is the meeting scheduling? So I'm assuming the Zoom, GoToMeeting, whatever it's available throughout the entire conference. Is that only during the live portion, or is that during the after live too?
Yeah, the meeting scheduler within your booth grid is intended Monday through Wednesday during the live hours of the show.
Okay, thank you, Stephanie. Let's see. VIP passes, are there any form of VIP passes available for attendees if exhibitors want to invite attendees?
Or not this year.
Okay, no VIP passes this year.
No, usually we do
Correct.
corporate guests. That's something that didn't easily translate between in-person, face-to-face, and virtual. The reason being is we can't do expo only admissions this year.
Okay, thank you. Let's see, what else? Someone mentioned the link to the email lists doesn't work. Maybe Miranda, if you have that at your fingertips, could you repeat the email list link?
Yeah, give me 1 second.
Okay, thank you. And I'll take a look.
Yeah, I can help you with that. So it's on the exhibitor page of the website, and it's through our registration company. So if you're having trouble, it's kind of halfway down the page, purchase attendee list. If you click learn more, it'll take you to Experian online ordering. If you're having problems getting in there, you can reach out to that help email or send me an email and I'll get connected with our person from Experian to help you on that. So sometimes it's a matter of an updated list and they just don't have your name yet, or there might be some other glitch. So
Yeah,
Okay.
and it is pittcon.org/exhibitor/purchase-conferee-lists.
Okay,
Yeah, so
thank you.
basically, if you do pittcon.org/exhibitor and just scroll down, you'll get there.
Okay, thank you. Someone asks, where do we find out what hall we're in?
yeah, so I have the list of all the hall assignments, so you can email me. It's also when you're looking at your booth from Asana with the Lab Roots team and you're kind of navigating through the platform, you can see where your hall is. And then we'll also be publishing that at some point once I have the final list and final exhibitor count.
Okay. Someone asked, the hours listed as 0900 to 1800, that's military time, but that is Eastern time. So 900 to 6 p.m. Eastern. Rocco or Stephanie, what time on February 8th is the staff training webinar?
On the 18th, you mean?
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, it's at 2 o'clock Eastern.
Okay.
And you will get an email for that tomorrow morning. It'll come right from the Pittcon email to register for that webinar.
Okay, and it looks like we have one more question to close out. Can you have 2 reps on the same email login at the same time?
No, they have to be different emails. So for tier 1, you have your 2 reps. You'll want 2 different people, 2 different emails.
Okay.
Yeah, it will notice if you are logged in with the same login on different computers, if that's what you're asking too.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's not like you can just give the link to 3 different people, like one email address, and because it's a unique login for each person. So you can't give that to a bunch of people and have 7, 8 people logged in.
It's
Yes,
something we've
that
tested. We know that
also
we've with other shows as well.
Okay. Okay. Once again, I have 3 late questions on that rep training time. The actual the rep date is, and again, forgive me, it is February 18th at 2 p.m. So, all right, we have gone 22 minutes over, a ton of questions. Thank you so much. I think we've really answered all the big ones. If there were any questions that were submitted that weren't answered that were of a one-to-one nature, the Pittcon crew will have access to the question log and will follow up. So on my behalf here, Jefferson, I want to thank all of you for being part of the Pittcon family. I want to thank you for stepping into this new digital arena with us. I want to thank you for being part of these 3 webinars. Hopefully, we have given you a lot of good content to help you optimize your platform, walked you through how to drive traffic to, and give you some great information on how to engage visitors. There's more to come. So I'll toss it back to Rocco for any additional or closing thoughts from Pittcon.
Yeah, just to reflect what Jefferson said, thank you all for exhibiting with us this year, for exhibiting with us in past years. I just wanted to reiterate that your choice to exhibit with us, it directly impacts our mission of furthering scientific endeavor. We do that through scientific outreach, scientific education programs, both in our communities. We would be doing one if this was a face-to-face year in New Orleans, next year in Atlanta. So please continue to give us your feedback on this whole process. We relish in it, and we will use it to make Pittcon even better. And again, thank you for joining us today. Thank you for participating with us in Pittcon.